Hello and welcome to another episode of ohmTown on Twitch. I am running stupendously late, lost track of time, had work to do. Sorry for being late. I doubt anybody's even going to show up tonight because I'm so late. They think that I failed. But that's not true. I am still here. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to another episode of ohmTown on Twitch. Said that while we were dark, but now we're live again. I am Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. That's the website right there, up there, all around, in between. A little bit of resistance on the line. It's where I aggregate information, ohmTown.com. Grabs news from a bunch of sources. Puts them into 6 categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. Trying to get to 50 shows. Each one 1 hour at least, maybe more. Really depends on how much engagement there is. If you want to be a host or a co-host, get in touch with me. Bunch of different ways. About to start adding the older videos to YouTube. They'll be hosted on ohmTown as well, so you can actually listen to them on ohmTown. But you can download them to your favorite podcaster. And a whole bunch more. Without getting too into the reads like I normally do, I'm going to have to make this as quick as possible so that I can stick to my schedule. Hate to do it like this, but I don't want to skip a day and do it right tomorrow. I would rather do something today, get some news out there for people to see if they're looking at my VODs. I haven't looked at the telemetry for that, but if the analytics say that people are looking at VODs, that's awesome. I'd really like to see some chat, which means I'm probably going to have to start telling the world that I exist instead of waiting for others. I want I want more people chatting about the news. I don't know. Give me some feedback. Let me know if this is working or if it's interesting or not. I know that ohmTown has picked up in traffic, but I'm all about Twitch. So let's get moving here. The first article is Ask Adam, can I order whiskey with crushed ice? I'm going to go ahead and short circuit this. I'm going to click on the link like I normally do. This is VinePair. That's where it's aggregated from. Adam Teeter is the one that wrote the article. You can go over there and look at it, but I'm going to tell you right now that you can enjoy your drink however you want it. Crushed ice or solid rocks, doesn't matter. If you enjoy it, that's what matters. If somebody decides that you're not up to snuff, you can discount their opinion, because if you don't enjoy it, however you want to drink it, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to drink it. You're not going to want to hang out and enjoy a whiskey with somebody else, right? Oh, but I had Tullamore Dew yesterday, and let me tell you, the 12-year-old Tullamore Dew is spectacular, at least for me. I loved it. I loved it neat. I loved it with a little bit of water. I loved it with rocks. I loved it even crushed ice, because that's what came into the glass the first time. I didn't, have a clear, solid cube of pure, clear ice. Anyway, doesn't matter. Enjoy how you drink, and that's all that matters. So this next article, what is this? Is Order of the Grape, 8 of your best Valentine's Day cocktails to make, no matter your relationship status. They go into some detail on the site. If you click it, it goes to Vine Pair, just like the previous one. This one's written by Katie Brown. They always have these really cool illustrations. Kind of neat. And every site has an illustration and an article. That illustration kind of grabs you, right? And you pay attention to a picture because it's 1,000 words, but ohmTown doesn't really do that. It doesn't grab their picture, doesn't grab anything associated with the artwork, and only grabs a little segment of the news. That way you can go over there, read all of the material. They get the credit for putting the article together and the advertising and all of that kind of stuff. But sometimes you want to chat in real time with somebody, and that's why I put this whole thing together. That's why ohmTown is on Twitch. That way you can come and talk in real time, hopefully 50 hours a week. I know. We'll see. Tell a friend. Okay. So there's a bunch. White pork clover club recipe, a rosé 75 recipe, a coconut Cosmo. That might be good. Brandy Alexander, that's an old standby. Dark cherry mimosa, I've never had that. That looks like something that you would have for Halloween. I'll have to come back and look at that. Strawberry sparkler, that's pretty tame. Probably very, very, very refreshing. A Negroni. Pedal pusher. You know what? You could make a mean Long Island iced tea or a screwdriver and be just as happy. But keep that vodka frozen. Chili. Anyway, the article is over on VinePair. 8 of the best Valentine's Day cocktails to make no matter your relationship status. Heck, I'd even say doesn't even need to be Valentine's Day. Just make them. The next article is how the USPS justified buying 9 times more gas cars than it needs. The EPA sent a scathing letter to the United States Postal Service, lambasting not only its decision to purchase up to 165,000 new delivery vehicles comprising 90% gas cars, but also the manner in which the USPS defended that decision in the environmental impact study. It might be excessive. I don't know. There's people that are more informed than I am, but I can tell you the USPS, under its Attorney General, basically hamstrung it. And I think that new delivery vehicles that are more efficient and more capable, possibly more capable. I don't think electric will be the go-to. They just don't have the range. They can't handle the cold as well. Again, my opinion, I see a lot of them driving around, but when it takes me 5 minutes to fill up my car, and most electric cars take a half hour at least, time is money, friend. But eventually, the push for adoption, the rebates, that'll make it worthwhile. And I'm waiting. I want to buy a Canoe, actually. It's an electric vehicle. But we shall see. I'm on the wait list for it. They didn't study any alternative it considered feasible. Instead, it studied 3 scenarios it did not consider feasible, even though 2 of them are better for the environment. 100% electric versions of the next generation delivery vehicle, commercially available gas vans like the Ram ProMaster, and commercially available electric vans like the Ford E-Transit. The USPS threw out buying commercially available vehicles because it says it has specific requirements such as right-hand drive for mailbox delivery, leaving only 100% EV procurement. Wow, why is that word so hard for me to say today? As the only alternative the USPS didn't dismiss in the first 10 pages of the analysis. So, but they justified it. And if it speeds up delivery and it allows them to compete at the same level as UPS and FedEx, so be it. I would rather my taxpayer dollars go to lowering the cost of delivery of products that I purchase from various places than to remove a competitor and we end up with a duopoly between FedEx and UPS. And that's where we're going to end up. So it used to be 26 cents to mail a letter. And now, not so much. But that's what happens when, I don't know, a few really twisted decisions get thrown at the USPS and hobble it in a tremendous way. More than one tremendous way. But ask questions. Let's talk about it. They had to fully fund their retirement fund. Nobody does that. The infrastructure was hobbled by throwing out brand new sorting machines. Apparently that doesn't matter. Efficiency, my butt. This next article is over on the Hatch Ideas group. Books overboard. Supply chain headaches leave publishing all at sea. Containers full of books at the bottom of the ocean are just one problem for an industry facing a host of shortages. You know what isn't in shortage? The freaking electrons. The bits and bytes. Books can be published electronically and delivered around the world instantaneously. Make it happen. You don't even need to recycle because you're no longer chopping down trees. Shocker, I know. Kindles are tremendous. They last forever. An electronic book on my computer, on my iPad, on my phone. I can take all of them, not just some of them, not 100,000, not 200,000. I could probably put 2 million on a, I'd have to look. I'd really have to look. And it could be multimedia, and it can be much more capable. The only retort that I've heard so far successfully is, you know what happens with a book, a printed book, when the power goes out? Nothing. I just have to light a candle. Yep. And with all of the books that are laying around in the middle of the night, you can sleep on them too, I guess. I don't know. You have to worry about them burning up, just like that entire warehouse of secure documents. Yeah. It's really hard to back up a book. But I can instantaneously copy a book and move it to another location and store it. I got 3 copies of my material right now. An offsite storage, secure, archive, local, and live. So if something happens live, I can restore it immediately from where I am. If both of them crash, come burning to the ground, I've got a cloud one that I can access remotely. Imagine if, those who, all of the publishers, everybody would allow for that type of thing. But no. Okay, I'm going to click this link just so that we can see where it's coming from. The Guardian, obviously this is about a supply chain thing. Either COVID or some other whatever. Yeah. But that's my take. I don't need to worry about printing stuff because electronically, I don't have to worry about printing. I don't run out of ink. If I run out of storage, I throw another 20 terabyte hard drive on my machine. If I want a mechanical drive. SSDs are smaller, but whatever. New research finds that coffee is good for pretty much your entire gastrointestinal tract. Did you think that maybe at it's at 7 o'clock. So at 7 p.m. Eastern on a Monday, you would have the words gastrointestinal tract thrown at you? Probably not. The new study finds moderate coffee consumption linked with at least 3 positive effects on the GI tract. Click that link so that you can bear witness to it. It's over at sprudge.com. Yet another handy dandy graphic of a little mini porcelain toilet. Again, did you ever think that you'd be tuning into Twitch just to see and hear somebody say porcelain toilet? Probably not. For one, coffee was linked with gastric, biliary, and pancreatic secretions, which all help the body digest food. So, I guess you can pound that cheeseburger down with some coffee. What else? It says, lastly, coffee was linked with improved gut motility. So your gut can move around easier. Yeah, the process by which food travels through the digestive tract. Yeah, you got that coffee energizing you and lubricating your digestive tract. I guess it's better than water. I don't know. Probably not. But any liquids is better, I suppose, as long as they're not what a former president said you should drink. Like, what was it? Bleach or something? I will not wax political. I will not wax political. Okay, one more second. I gotta get... Oh my goodness. This thing is driving me nuts today. Okay. So this next article, it's in Reality Hacker on ohmTown. It was aggregated from Road to VR, and it's how to watch the 22 Winter Olympics in VR. I'm gonna click this link, but is anybody watching the Winter Olympics? I don't know. Everybody that I've heard talking about the Winter Olympics are surprised that the Winter Olympics are even functioning right now. Where, according to NPR, basically it's a habit trail. Everybody's isolated from one another and not allowed to go into any town. A picture that I saw on Reddit showed what Olympic athletes are being fed, and it looked shockingly poor, but maybe it was the anomaly and not the rule. This next article is in Law Nerd. It's bad when a judge says Wells Fargo committed fraud and that's not the key issue. Yeah. Now, Wells Fargo has run into a bunch of trouble over the years. From 2008, they were one of those participants in the collapse and beneficiaries thereof. If there's anything that Wells Fargo does, it's manipulating matters to its advantage at the expense of its customers. That's how this article starts out. John Shazar, I think his last name is. Anyway, you can go check it out at dealbreaker.com. You also probably won't be surprised to see our old friends at FINRA popping up. Yeah. The more light you shed on things, the less abuse can take place. And I'm all for whistleblowers. I'm all for people shining that light and exposing abuse. And I've said it before, abuse happens in the dark. And nobody should get away with crap. Well, we all get harmed as a society by people that are exploitive, but let's see what happens with that. We'll have to come back and watch what this is all about. Go over to dealbreaker.com and look for, it's bad when a judge says Wells Fargo committed fraud, and that's not the key issue. You'll find the article. Chapman University says it didn't authorize law professors' representation of Trump, yet work was on server. So I'm going to click this link. I'm not coming at this from a political standpoint. This is about HR and employment. This is my take. So this is from Stephanie Francis Ward. They're the writer for this article over in abajournal.com. My take on this is, if somebody has access to storage and resources with the ability to do something like mine that data because it's so big, they need a computer that's more capable than their laptop, which nowadays, I don't know, that's rare. It's so rare for the level of research I'm sure that's taking place. If you're, crunching numbers, it's not going to take a supercomputer. At least this type of number, I'm sure. Anyway, the January 20, 2022 subpoena relates to the constitutional law professor's legal representation of former President Donald Trump in the 2020 election, includes emails, contact lists, and calendar entries on the university server. So all of that really doesn't even matter. We're talking about the storage of information. And when you're an employee of a university, of a college, and your life and your work-life balance has blended over so much that you don't turn off from one when you're doing another because that's just the status quo, you're gonna find this, unless the person is fastidious, just obsessive about separating their work from their life. And that's me. I won't let work bleed over into my life, because I know that at a moment's notice, who knows what can happen. And that means that if my personal life bleeds over into the enterprise, if something happens to me, everything that I've ever done on that enterprise machine is accessible by the enterprise, and it always is. There is no privacy. There's no assumption of privacy. You might think there is, but the enterprise has total access to your emails. It becomes a legal battle if you want to try and challenge it. But you're using their resources. You're accessing it because they have employed you, not because you're just, a free agent and you can go to anybody's enterprise and start logging in and accessing mail and sending stuff and storing things. But I can tell you from experience, me talking to other people store their personal stuff on enterprise resources. And unless the enterprise is monitoring and punitive in nature, like you get a warning and then you get punitive action, they'll keep on doing it. So like copyrighted material ends up on enterprise servers, and then some IT person stumbles across a cache of videos or music or books or all kinds of stuff, and either summarily just deletes it because, well, they saw it and their ethics say what the law says, which is copyrighted duplication of copyrighted material without authorization is a crime. It's although it's not a criminal act, at some point it does rise to that level, but it's a violation of copyright law. So you can have a suit brought against you. And if the enterprise allows that stuff to remain there, they're just as liable as the person who downloaded it and put it on there, until they say, oh, well, this is the person who did it from this IP address and their name is on it because they logged in and da-da-da. But you have to be able to track all of that stuff. Not everybody does that. So this is a hot mess. And frankly, if the university told the attorney, the law professor, no, you can't do it, and they did it anyway, then terminate. That's what it should come down to. If it rises to the level where they need to be terminated. Otherwise, what's the point? Oh, we've never fired anybody for storing their personal stuff on our servers. Well, now you're drawing the line. Well, it becomes arbitrary and capricious. You're treating somebody differently just because, and there might be some other bias in there. So without going into the politics of this, it is an HR concern and should be left at that. But this is a trial involving a former president and an investigation into the January 6th Capitol attack. And again, pulling away from the politics of it. Making claims that the election was fraudulent has been proven time and time again. No. The Capitol attack was outright a Capitol attack, trying to overthrow a valid election. There has been all kinds of actions that, if you look at it, the legality of it shouldn't be squishy, like another set of electors and all of this other stuff. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that the wheels concerning this are so slow, yet a person who is smoking a joint somewhere and is the wrong color is suddenly thrown in jail and the charges are just maximized. It's weird. You know, if I were to break into a federal building, I expect the rule of law to be thrown at me. But we're living in a timeline that has diverged from reality, it seems. And again, this isn't political. This is all about the rule of law, the social order. We are part of a society. You can't just do criminal acts with impunity unless you have enough money, apparently. Anyway, the next thing is the secret of aging well is contentment. Are you content? You will age well into your 90s. Despite having many friends in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, I've been far too slow to realize how we respond to aging is a choice made in the mind, not in the gym. If you click this link, you'll go to New York Times. Well, I can tell you that you may be able to perceive yourself as aging well, but being content alone is probably not going to be the thing that keeps you healthy. Robert Goldfarb is the writer of this. At 88, I remain a competitive runner, always sprinting the last 100 yards of a race to cross the finish line with nothing left to give. So it's really hit or miss. I mean, let's be real about this. You can go and read the rest of the article, but they're asking the question, the secret to aging well? Contentment. That's the answer, apparently, contentment. But yeah, I mean, you can train as hard as you want to, but you're a biological entity. So if there is something messed up in the gears, right? Something is wrong. You may never even know it, right? So take me, for instance. Take me, please. I used to work out in the morning and at night, 2 a day, right? I used to be in track. I used to play football. I've gone skydiving. I'm a diver. Used to play paintball and laser tag and all of this stuff, right? And then you turn 30, you turn 40, you turn 50, and all of these things kind of happen. And you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. So contentment may make you feel great about any age you are at. So do what makes you content, because you just don't know what sabo, right? What might sabotage what you have planned, and the best laid plans, right? That old adage, the best laid plans. You may plan everything and it just falls apart. So yes, be content. It may not be the thing that is the secret to aging well, but as you age and you are content with what you have and where you are going, you can perceive that as being aging well. But go and read the rest of this article. Feel free. Robert Goldfarb over on the New York Times, nytimes.com. Go check it out. This next article is The Word in Tech. It's categorized in The Word in Tech, and it was aggregated from The Verge. And the title of this article is "A Renowned Community of Quilters is Taking on Copycats and Winning." So when you click the link over on ohmTown, it'll take you over to The Verge, and you can read the rest of the article by Alexandra Marver. And let's see. What do they say? They've been shown at galleries and art fairs around the world. But if the quilters want to directly sell their world-famous quilts, vibrant, often asymmetrical, charismatic works, originally hand-stitched for warmth from scavenged fabric, they've had to wait for prospective buyers to come to them. Yeah. These are all pretty neat, and it takes some skill to put all of this together, particularly when you've gotten these quilts that have like odd shapes, you know, not just the square ones like on the right hand side. The left hand side has these geometric patterns that are really interesting. But it takes time. It takes skill. I think it's pretty neat stuff. None of them had ever used Etsy before, but some of them were certainly familiar with it, and not for the opportunity it offered them. For years, a course of independent crafters, had been peddling. What is that? Gee's Bend inspired quilts on Etsy while they racked up sales leveraging the Gee's Bend name. The women behind their key search term carried on quilting when they could acquire fabric. So what is this? Fourth generation quilter Claudia Petaway Charles spots a G Bend inspired quilt on Etsy. How exactly are they related to her or her community? She hopes to engage them in a thoughtful dialogue about appropriation. Well, interesting. Sorry for the silence. An Atlanta-based nonprofit formed by the family of the first major private collector of Gee's Bend quilts knew that direct access to the market could help address this issue and more. They tapped Nest, an artisans advocacy organization that had been working with the quilters for a couple of years on other initiatives. Well, the problem here, first off, you can't protect an idea. You can only protect the embodiment of the idea. So each one of these quilts, you could argue, can be protected, but there's really, I mean, using the name shouldn't be allowed, particularly if it's a trademark term. But because I'm assuming that Gee's Bend is a location. Let me back up here. See, I just don't know that much about this. Um, and I don't want to, I'm making a certain assumption here. Yeah, Gee's Bend, Alabama. So that's kind of the problem here is you're not going to be able to protect Gee's Bend. It's a name. The design is, you're not going to be able to protect that design because quilting is what quilting is. You just take fabric and you connect it in interesting ways, whatever way that might be. I don't know. It's a tough call, but you'd have to appeal to people's ethics and morality to not use that name and not to try and take away the goodwill that Gee's Bend is building for its quilters. Appropriation is kind of a strong term for quilting, but I get it. You know, they're doing a lot of work to market the name, to brand around it, to build that goodwill and recognition, and then people come along and lean on that goodwill. It's rather dishonest. I think that the people who have built up that name and brand recognition and the nature thereof should benefit wholly from it, and nobody else should be able to, in their words, appropriate that product's goodwill. And the reason why I say it this way is because somebody else could use that name and do a really poor product, and then it detracts from the brand Gee's Bend quilts. But without getting more into the business aspect of it, maybe they don't have a trademark, maybe they're not an organization so much as just a group of people that are hashtagging around Gee's Bend, which is going to be really tough to try and protect, but they may be doing well. Because it's hinting at it. Online sales gave Gee's Bend quilters control over their work. Okay, so this next article is on Mobile. Researchers create strong synthetic enamel similar to natural tooth covering. Let me try that again. Researchers create strong synthetic enamel similar to natural tooth covering. Yeah, so all of our teeth are covered with enamel. Very strong, very durable. Unfortunately, it has little flaws in it, and sometimes if you bite on something hard, you can chip it, and once it's chipped, all hell breaks loose. You end up with cavities or shattering a tooth. I had that once. Bit into baklava, still had the shell in it. Shattered my front tooth. And I was just a nice guy about it. I could have brought down the company that purchased it from another supplier, and they kind of came at me kind of strong, saying, well, you'll have to go after that person over there, and that's just not how sales work. If you sell a product, you have strict liability. So I could have gone after that restaurant and the provider of it, basically. But all I asked for was my dental to be repaid, and so that's where it was left. And so now I have to get whatchamacallits, enamels done if I want like the perfect white smile. Anyway, maybe that's an overshare. Click the link, takes you to phys.org. Bob Yurka from Science X Network talking about this. And I think that this is great, because if there is a way to build up natural tooth enamel again, you could do away with cavities. But this has been, this has been one of these things that have been talked about again and again and again since I was a child. And without saying exactly how old I am, it's been a long time coming, and it's still not here. So it even says humans have been trying to prevent tooth decay for thousands of years, long before the field of dentistry arose. You know, one day somebody woke up and said, hey, you should take a stick that has a whole bunch of stuff on it and brush it across your teeth to get the things out. I'm always fascinated by how things get created, things like that, you know. What person woke up? I'd have to do some research. There's a challenge for you. Somebody go and find out how toothbrushes came into existence. When did the first person wake up and go, I think I'm going to stick a stick in my mouth that has a whole bunch of little pointy bits and see if it makes my teeth feel better? Can't imagine. Stock marketeers, deep dive. Only 29 stocks hit all 4 of these key metrics so far this earnings season. AMD, Schwab, and Apple are among the S&P 500 companies increasing sales and improving profit margins. You click that link, you get taken over to MarketWatch. And you can go through this. Delta, ConocoPhillips, AMD, and Apple are listed in this picture. But what does it mean for a company to have good earnings report? It's more than a headline saying it beat its earnings estimate. After all, a company's quarterly earnings may come in higher than analysts expect, even if it posts a net loss. Yeah, it really depends. When you do a holistic analysis of a company and their stock, you can have a tremendous revenue growth, but there's still a net loss because they are spending all of this on capital improvements or some other acquisition or whatever. You know, margins may be great. The thing about it is that at the end of the day, everybody gets paid and then some. Sometimes there's some more juice given out because people do really good jobs during the year. So you'll have to go and look through more of this on your own. But the following screen is based on sales growth and profit margin improvement rather than net profit, because one-time events such as Amazon's 11.8 billion unrealized gain on its investment in Rivian Automotive can have a dramatic temporary effect on the bottom line. And that's another thing. Institutional investment is just in the right space at the right time, a massive boon to a company. And that's where, other than their standard daily processes, those investments off of the capital that the company owns, they reinvest that and they make more money on the back end. They're making money, just like people. That said, there's a bigger discussion there depending on your take on things. So go and check it out. Check it out over at MarketWatch. Do a search over there for these companies in the S&P 500 are winning this earnings season using 4 critical measures. And they changed their article title. This happens periodically. This is what it used to be called. And sometime between when I grabbed that article and when they made their last edit, they changed the title. So it was first published February 7th, 2022 at 9:05 a.m. And by 3:30 p.m., they had done at least one edit. They refer to it as the last updated time is 3:30 p.m. And at that point, they must have changed the title. But they left the original URL so that the search engine would still link them. SEO, search engine optimization. So this next article is Hodinkee Radio, a complete newbie does a watch podcast. Click the link. It'll take you over to the website, hodinkee.com. The article is, I don't know. Who wrote this? James Stacy. So they're doing a watch podcast. Starting as Blank Slate, Sarah Miller explores the watch world with humor and curiosity. Hey, go check it out. Sarah's been functioning as Hodinkee's complete newbie since the spring of last year, and since Nick, who is Hodinkee's SVP of content, came up with the idea. So it's a silly, personal, and curious conversation about Sarah's personal perspective on watches, Nick's drive to make the world a more open and welcoming, and how able to operate as a newbie can grant an uncommon perspective in a niche environment. True. Somebody who hasn't experienced everything has a different perspective. They don't assume things, they just go stumbling through. Sometimes with the ability to be situationally aware and anticipate things if they can read the room properly. And it's really great to enterprise because a newbie, right, will find all of the flaws in the process without even trying. Whereas those of us who have been in an industry long enough, we anticipate stuff and we roll with it. And sometimes, without even realizing it, we fill in the blanks. That's just how things are. This next article is Understanding What Determines the Benefits of Bribery. Researchers in Hong Kong and UK have found that a $1 investment in bribery returns $6 to $9 in terms of a company's value. Now, this doesn't extend everywhere. In some places, bribery is kind of part and parcel to the business process. I think that it's unethical, so I can't do it. I can't accept it, and I can't do it. It's really kind of twisted. But let's not get into it. Anyway, go and read the article, Understanding What Determines the Benefits of Bribery. But there are people that will bribe others, and if it's the right level and the person is squishy enough morally, they will take it and give benefit to whoever it was that did the bribe. And unless it is outright illegal and overt illegal with well-founded punitive actions when caught, there's no motivation to not accept a bribe. It's really interesting. It's all that I got mine, screw you kind of mentality, and I don't get it. But different places, different people, different upbringings, different mental perspectives about society, and what is acceptable and what isn't. Even, and I'm not saying that it's only over in some other country, even within the United States, obviously, people are bribed and they don't balk. And depending on the bribe and the punitive actions that might follow if you're caught, the person who did the bribing now owns the person who was bribed, because they could never back away from the initial bribe. I'm no longer interested in accepting your future bribes. Well, I hate to break it to you, but you might disappear. Or if you come out and say, so-and-so bribed me, you're done in your career too. Again, depending on the level of money you've got, you may not even care. This next article is Smack Talk. That's the group that it was aggregated into, but it comes from Apple Insider. Iowa to review plans for Apple's much delayed data center. 5 years after Apple announced a $1.3 billion data center in Waukee, Iowa, plans for the still unmade facility are to go before the city's planning commission. Click the link and you go over to Apple Insider, and William Gallagher is the author of this article. Go over and read about it. Usually a city and or a state gives tax benefits to the promises of multitudes of jobs and the marginal tax income that's generated off of that. Because what happens is a company builds something, gets tax benefits so that jobs are created. Those jobs are money-making jobs for the employees than the employees spend locally, supposedly. But how much is actually spent within that county and within that state? Who knows? But there is payroll taxes. So whatever the value is to that location, it extends into state taxes. During his 2017 joint speech with the then newly elected Governor Kim Reynolds, Cook said the data center would help drive Apple's future. Of course. They wouldn't do it if it wasn't a benefit to Apple. There's an old saying about the only job of a business is to make money. And I'll see if I can find there's a follow-up behind that, because if I recall correctly, the person that said it regrets it. There really should be a social benefit beyond just generating revenue. Otherwise, yeah, some abuse can happen. But we can get into that if you are so motivated to talk about it, and we can get some examples and talk about those examples. So this next article is The Word in Tech, increasing the accuracy of atomic force calculations with the space warp coordinate transformation. I picked this simply because of that title, and I don't know. I know the words independently, but I wouldn't know how this is actually applied. Maybe if somebody explained it like I was a 5-year-old, I might be able to understand what this is all about. But it says atomic forces are primarily responsible for the motion of atoms and their versatile arrangement patterns, which is unique for different types of materials. Yeah, we won't even go down. Quantum Monte Carlo methods are high precision, state-of-the-art simulation methods. By the way, I actually know what Monte Carlo methods are, but I wouldn't be able to explain this. I encourage one of you who might be watching or stumble across the VOD or what will soon be on YouTube, come back and talk to me about it. Educate me on it. It's all about talking about this stuff. The next article is Apple's revised Dutch dating app payment changes are under review. Yeah, they lowered the amount of the commission. We'll click the link just so that I can rush through this. Malcolm Owen is the author. So Amazon changed the commission fee, and that's throwing a wrench in antitrust investigations. This article is aggregated into Mobile, but it comes from phys.org. Teachers can't keep pretending everything is okay. Toxic positivity will only make them sick. As children return to schools across the country, the outlook for teachers is bleak. Yeah, never have I seen as many teachers just kind of burned out as I do now. There's a lot of policy and procedure changes that are happening around the country. I don't know about overseas. I can't really speak to that, but and rules and really you can't. It's starting to appear like you can't be. You have to start out positive and then say something that could be construed as negative, but then throw a curveball and make it positive again. You have to. It's weird. And it's all in this idea to keep students motivated, but students are motivated by completing the assignments and then moving on. Students don't care about the rest of this feel good stuff. They want to get the stuff done, and keep moving on. The faster they can get out of school and play outside and hang out with their friends and get on Twitch is pretty much their motivation. this next article, I'm going to run through this really quick, is Sifu. Sifu is this awesome game. The dynamic nature of the opponents in this game is amazing. You can't say that the graphics are spectacular because they're designed a certain way, but they fit all seamlessly within the construct of the game. But fighting your opponent is spectacularly amazing, and the way that they fight, it's so interactive that the moment that you delay, they will take advantage of that delay and just beat you into the ground. So I think it is a great game, and I would love it to be in VR. So I'm gonna click this link so that I can show you who the source is. They only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. A Sifu review. Nathan Brown is the author, by the way. A Kung Fu masterclass that kicks you when you're down. Yes, absolutely. Has a really neat aging dynamic, as if you are defeated, you die, but you are reborn a year or more older, depending on how many times you die to the same boss fight. Or I should say fight at all. But you should go and check it out. It's over on The Guardian, and it's a review titled Sifu Review, a Kung Fu masterclass that kicks you when you're down. And this next article is the DOE, the Department of Education, revamped the college scorecard. So a college in the United States basically has a scorecard, and it talks about the costs and the possibility of future earnings and other things, other factors within the institution. And so if you are in college or thinking about going to college, you can just, if you go over to the Hill or you do a search for Department of Education college scorecard, it'll have a link to take you over there. And I might be able to embed it in the description of the VOD. But at any rate, it's returning to the old design with additional information. And the information on graduate performance had been removed by DeVos, and now it's back, along with other things. And I like it, but then again, I'm done with, largely done with college. I mean, you're never really done, but anyway, in my field, you're never really done. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave it. We're going to call it a day and get out of here really quick. It's we're looking at an hour right on the money, and I want to thank you if you are in chat. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. I will be here again with another set of news headlines and my take on them. And if you throw comments or concerns in chat, then we can talk more about that in relation to the news. And if you come to me with articles, I'm happy to give you my take on it. And hopefully you are absolutely feeling like you are encouraged to put your take in chat. And even if you want to, I will put you up there. If you want to, I will put you up there right above me. Box is ready to go. You can zoom into my channel and we can talk in real time about your take on the news, or on something else. You know, I'm down. I'm cool with it. Let's talk in real time. Let's do it. That's it for tonight. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a little bit. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.